back to Daily Dose. This is the podcast where we talk about anything and everything, especially the most juiciest and uncomfortable topics. So today we have a very special guest.
Don't say my name.
This is my grandmom, and she said don't say her name. So this is the very, very best grandmom that you can ever have. Isn't that a good name, Grandma?
Yes.
That's a good name. Okay, so today, since it's Black History Month, we are going to dive into Black history. So the first episode, I wanted to have my grandmom. Will you tell them what year you were born, Grandma?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, she's from Selma, Alabama.
And born in the 1930s.
And born in the 1930s. So today she's going to tell us about growing up in that time and just shedding some light on growing up in those days. So first question is, Grandma, what was it like growing up in the 1930s in Selma, Alabama?
It was wonderful. For us as children, we grew up free and happy because I grew up in the country. And I have 9 siblings.
9.
And my dad had a big farm. And school was wonderful. Even though when I first started school, we started in a one-room school. Everybody was in one room.
How many people was in that class?
It wasn't just one class. My teacher had to teach from kindergarten to 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore we were all in the one room together.
Oh, wow.
So she would teach the 6th grade, the kindergartens first, and then go on up to the 6th grade.
And you would be there that whole day, or you would come in at
Yes, school started at 8:30 and it ended at 3.
Oh, wow. So did you go to like an all-black school, or was it?
It was all black.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys was there like a white school down the street, or was it?
Oh no, in the country there's no down the street or whatever. So when I grew up, it wasn't, say, streets. It might have been a road or something.
Oh, okay.
And houses was like maybe a mile and a half apart.
Oh, wow. So could you have friends, really?
Well, we didn't need no friends with 9
siblings. How many bedrooms?
We had 3 bedrooms.
Oh, wow.
Living room, dining room, kitchen, and shed kitchen.
Oh, wow.
The shed kitchen was for my mom when she canned stuff for the winter feeding.
Oh.
And my dad would always see that we had meat and what you call a smokehouse.
Oh, so he would cook the meat right inside?
Yes.
Oh, nice. So because you had like a farm, did you go out and catch the animals yourself, or shoot the animals yourself, or ever butcher like a pig on your own?
Well, my dad did all of that, and we had cows, horses, pigs, chicken, turkey.
Oh, wow.
We had a number of animals, and my dad farmed he grew corn, very little cotton, and sweet potatoes, peanuts, all kinds of vegetables. And growing up in the country, you didn't have to worry about fruit because you had all fruit trees and all nut trees, and it was just wonderful. Strawberries you could go out and
just pick them off and eat them?
Take them home. Blueberries, blackberries, all kinds of berries, raspberries.
And how did you guys get around because you said you lived miles apart, so how did you get around?
My dad had a car. It was a T-model Ford.
Oh, wow. T-model Ford.
At first we had a wagon with the horses.
Oh, you did? So you know how to ride a horse?
Well, not really, because my father didn't really allow us to ride, the girls to ride the horses. But from time to time, we would.
Oh, nice. Back in those days, because I know it was very racist, did you ever encounter any racism in Selma?
Well, yes, we did. We first lived in the country, and when we moved in Selma, it was sort of like a different, it was a change. Yeah. So it was a lot different from living in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And when we came to Selma, we went to new schools and whatever. So it was nice. One thing was different was that the paper writing, paper and work papers that we used in school came from the other schools.
Oh, so it's passed down.
Yeah, it was passed down. Like they used it first, boxed it up, and
gave
then
it to
we
y'all?
did it, and we did our work on the other
Really?
side.
What was it, like erased off or something?
No, it just that they did work on one side,
And you did on the
and then
other.
we flipped it and did work on the other side.
So no fresh paper.
No fresh paper.
So was it from like the white schools or just any schools?
Well, yes.
Wow. Okay, so was there ever a time where being black in Selma almost cost you your life or got you in a pickle where it's like, oh gosh?
No, we were just, when we lived in the country, of course, we didn't know anything. We knew about racism.
Yeah.
But it didn't bother us.
What about when you moved to Selma?
Well, when we moved to Selma, it was a little bit, but it wasn't all that much.
It wasn't?
There were certain places you could go and certain places you could not go. But we knew where those places were, so, you know, we kind of like avoided those places.
Was there ever a time where you wanted to go to one of those places but you couldn't, or you tried to and didn't really?
Well, not really, because if you went to those places, there always was a special part for black people. And when you went to the movie, it was like 10 cents to go in, but you had to go all the way up in the balcony. You couldn't sit down front or any place there. Your place was in the balcony.
Oh. Did it bother you and your siblings?
No, because when you don't really know the difference, it doesn't bother you. But when you find out the difference, that's when it sort of like bothers you a little bit.
And when did you find out the difference, like for you personally?
Well, when we moved to Selma, we saw things was different. There was places you couldn't do and go, and you was kind of like segregated.
Yeah.
And if you went in the supermarket to buy something, if any one came in that was another color, if you were right at the cashier and they walked in, then you have to step back and let them go through.
What?
Mm-hmm.
So when that first happened, the first time that happened, did you know to do that, or did somebody kind of like, excuse me, like you don't know?
Well, we kind of like knew that.
Oh, okay.
That was practice.
You already knew.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So when you were in the country, did you understand like segregation before you got to Selma, or in the country that those rules didn't really apply?
Well, we knew it. We knew there was a difference, but it just didn't bother us because that is the way things was.
Right.
So we did, as children, maybe my mom and dad was concerned about it.
Yeah.
We weren't.
Were they overprotective or?
Yeah, my dad was. And my dad, as they said, wore the pants in the family.
Dad wore the pants, huh?
He gave all the orders.
So what he said went. So what he said went.
What Daddy said was like it.
No going back and forth.
No going back and forth.
Oh wow. Okay, so I had to lift up the computer to get the facts right for this. So Bloody Sunday, very familiar. I know you are. So
it was.
Wait, let me read this so they know what it is.
What?
The little thing. So, for those of you who don't know a Bloody Sunday, on March 7th, 1965, and what will become known as Bloody Sunday, John Lewis and, how do you say her name? Hosea? I'm not sure, and Miss Williams led about 600 people on what is intended to be a march from Selma to Montgomery. But Alabama state troopers, some on horseback, and Clerk and his deputies meet the marchers at the Edmund Pettus Bridge. When the marchers refuse to disperse, they are driven back with billy clubs and tear gas, with 16 being hospitalized and at least 50 other injured. The national coverage of the event galvanized the country, and King calls for volunteers from throughout the nation to come to Selma for another march on March 9th. And this is from USA Today. Yeah. Okay. So, Grandma, can you tell me about that?
Well, I wasn't really there, but my family was there. My mom and dad participated in the march, including some of my siblings.
Oh, really? You didn't go?
I was living in Philadelphia at the time.
Okay.
But I knew about it and I heard about it. And at some time I did go home doing some of it, but I had like 3 young children, and I couldn't afford to go there and really get hurt or anything, get mixed up in things. But I knew what was going on. It really started long before that. Martin Luther started the Christian movement, trying to have desegregation. There was a whole lot of trouble. Churches was burned, leaders' home was burned, and people were beaten with billy clubs, and many of them was arrested. So it was really bad. But march on in Selma, it was real violent, and Martin Luther King was locked up, and along with some of the other ministers that worked with him.
Did you know anybody who got hurt? Or did your family, like, what was their experience?
No, my mom and dad and my siblings didn't get hurt because there was such a big crowd of people. Till everybody couldn't be just up front. There were like miles of people, mobs of people headed to Montgomery.
Okay, so on the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday, Obama, he went. Did you see he went and did like a speech on the bridge?
Yeah.
So it was in 2015.
Well, I remember President Clinton came to Selma for the anniversary march, and of course I was able to participate in that.
You was? How was that?
It was okay, orderly, and very peaceful.
Were you nervous?
No, we weren't nervous.
Because you know the history, some people be nervous redoing that, re-experiencing that, redoing that.
Yeah, it was just a retrace of the beginning.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the Selma to Montgomery march. Okay, so they got beat, which was Bloody Sunday. That was the first time they tried to march, right? Yeah. Then they kept trying, and they eventually got there. Were you around when that happened?
No. Like I say, my mom and my dad and my siblings was there. It had been worth all the things that they went through. And they had accomplished a lot of things, like Martin Luther King fought hard for the voting rights. And the privilege of being free to go where you would like to go and to come without any trouble.
Okay, so Sharon was telling me you used to write some kind of letters for Martin Luther King. Could you tell me about that?
Well, it wasn't for Martin Luther King. It was some of the ministers that was close to him. They lived in Selma for a while, and they attended Selma University College. From time to time, I used to write letters and address cards to go out to notify members of when meetings was and what place they were taking.
What were the meetings for?
The meeting was in journal like the NAACP meetings, and to try to figure out what was next.
And why did you have to write letters? Why couldn't it? Was it secretive that you had to write the letters?
Well, it wasn't much of a letter. It was sort of like a postage card that you would put a message on and address it to people. And it may have been about 25 or 30 people.
Oh, wow. And was Martin Luther King usually at those meetings?
Perhaps he was. Some of them, not all.
Not all of them. So that's cool. So you wrote to invite the people to the meetings to discuss
notify them when the meeting would be.
When the meeting was. That's cool. Did you ever meet Martin Luther King, or was in his vicinity, or went to the church?
Yes, because of the marches and what have you. I never have gone to his church, but not necessarily meet, but saw.
Oh, nice. In person.
Saw in person.
And was it like? Oh, that's good.
Nice.
It was nice.
Nice.
Was it for a speech?
Yes. Speaking, and first saw him at the march. And
which march?
The march on the Edmonds Pettus Bridge.
Oh, okay. Wait, I thought you said you didn't go to that one.
Well, many times that wasn't the only
march.
Yeah.
Okay, that was just one of.
It was just
so. What was the one that you went to? What was
it?
That?
Was peaceful.
Peaceful.
People walk like hand in hand together, so it was very peaceful.
It was a peaceful march. Yeah. And did you get to speak to him, or he was just way up there?
No, he wasn't waving. You just got to see him. Look at him.
Yeah. You just got to see him. Okay, that's him over there.
Yeah.
Nice, Grandma. Was there any other movements you were part of?
No. Not really.
No. Okay, so now the Voting Act is written into,
Now that was the
passed.
difficult part of it, because when we started voting, it was very difficult because many times they would move the polls that you were supposed to go to vote at.
Where they moving to?
Like in another place or another church, and
you wouldn't know.
Yeah, there was a lot of obstacles.
Yeah.
But and then they always have people there to oversee the voting, and a lot of times the votes wasn't turned in like they should.
Right. Oh, really? Of course, it was white people looking over it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And what was so when you tried to go to do your voting, was it at another place, or what happened when you tried to go?
When I voted, it was at another place where they had moved it to.
Oh, they moved it. How did you figure out where to go?
Well, there's people that'll tell you.
Yeah.
They had people working, and they would tell you that the voting place had been moved.
Right.
And there was some people, they had tried to stop people from coming to vote.
So what, were you around for the bus boycott?
Yes, I was home during that time.
And can you tell us about then?
It started with Rosa Parks. Not really, because history say it started earlier with someone else.
Right, and she just kind of spun it up.
She just kind of... Black people then had to go to the back of the bus to sit down.
And when you went on the bus, did that bother you?
No, because that was how it was.
Right.
But she sat in the first seat that she got to because she was tired. And then they asked her to move, and she would not move, so she got arrested and went to jail. That's how it started.
So how was it when you, and like for you personally, going through that time? Like, did you have to walk or when everybody started boycotting the bus services? Like, did you have to walk to work and stuff?
You had to walk. Wherever you went, you had to walk. And if we went downtown shopping, you had to walk. Or maybe somebody would drive you sometimes.
Right. Wow. Okay, so how did it feel when we first elected our first black president? Did it feel like the marches and everything kind of started to pay off?
Yeah, we thought it was all worth it because it took a long time. We thought it was all worth it.
How much progress do you think we made since?
Well, if we make 2 steps forward, it seemed that we might be pushed back 1 step.
It does.
But the good thing about that is that we keep moving. We just keep moving. And the black race has made more progress than any other race because
you think so?
We had to come from slavery.
Right.
And up to being a president. So that's coming a long way.
Right.
We have to learn to love one another and to care about one another. Kindness and love is the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah. Last question. Would you do it all again, living in Selma, the marches, seeing your parents and some of your siblings do the marches? Would you do it all again?
The march?
Would you do it again?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I would like to do it. As far as living in Selma, I would love to.
Oh, you really love Selma? It was a good place?
It's a good place, but it still have its disadvantages.
Yeah, it does. Like all places. Yeah, like all places. Okay, thank you, Grandma, for coming on the podcast.
Oh, it's all my pleasure.
Okay, Grandma. See you later. Thank you for joining us for another. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Daily Dose, and we'll see you next time. See you.
Bye.